Much of the focus of the last couple weeks on the Trump administration has been with maybe it's Ghislaine and the Schmepstein files, but I do not want people to forget the inhumanity, the lack of compassion, the lack of care, the lack of respect for the rights of our undocumented migrant workers in this country. Just a month ago, Trump, while touring Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, spoke about his plans for undocumented farmer workers. And I want you to listen to what he said about the program he's looking to develop, and then think about what this means in terms of human rights and individual rights and dignity for undocumented migrants in this country, those that work hard with no criminal convictions. Just listen. This is crazy.
Recently about the idea of finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce. And I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not
interesting? Take care of our farmers and hotel workers and various other people that we're working on right now. And Ron's going to be involved, and you're involved already. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm, and these are guys working there for 10, 15 years. The farmers know we're going to put it's called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, but they're going to be largely responsible for these people. And they know these people. They've worked at the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden. So I have a great, Ron does, Christy does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to let me farm.
Mr. President, you and the government.
So if you didn't hear that, great, because that was in the facility and then we had fans going. He talked about a program where undocumented migrant workers on farms are going to be involved. They don't even have to sign up. They're going to get signed up by their employers, but it's going to be called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, in which these undocumented workers on farms, they give their labor and they have to pay taxes, but they won't get any citizenship rights. If that sounds eerily familiar to you, we did have a period of time in the United States in which that was called slavery, in which people were used for their labor and didn't get any citizenship rights and no pathway to citizenship. If you didn't hear it great the first time, he talks about it again in a different interview on the same day at Alligator Alcatraz. So just listen up.
Claire Gall with Wink News in Fort Myers. What is your direction to ICE when it comes to arresting farm workers here illegally, other workers in industries that are pretty critical to Florida's economy?
Yeah. Well, we're very much cognizant of that, and as you know, I won the farmers by 92%, and I'm not going to be abandoning my farmers. We were strong on the borders, but we're also strong for the farmers and for others in the hotel industry, et cetera. You know, we have similar situations. And Christy and I, and we'll be working with Ron and a lot of the states. We're going to work something where the farmers can be responsible for some of the people that have, and they have people, Ron, for 10, 15 years that they know very well. We're going to put them responsible and we're going to issue a form of a card or document, and the farmer's going to be responsible for these people. They're not going to have citizenship, but they'll be working, they'll be paying taxes. We need to get our farmers the people they need, otherwise our farmers aren't going to be able to do their land. You know, it was tried once before, many, many years ago, where there was a very strong guy, and he got everybody out, and every farm, almost in the country, but every farm in California, every farm in Iowa, almost all the farms went bankrupt.
So there it is again, a second time. Two things. That doesn't align with the MAGA position and the Republican position that if you are here illegally, you're going to be deported and you're not going to be able to come back because that's a crime, because all you hear among the MAGAs is, well, if you're here illegally, that's a crime and you've got to be deported, can't come back, we got to get you out. So first off, Trump is going against that. He's saying that farmers can vouch for their undocumented migrant workers and have them cross the border out and come right back into the country. What's the purpose of that? That's a waste of money. Why not just legalize them? Why not just naturalize undocumented migrants here and give them citizenship rights? Allow them to pay taxes, but allow them to gain citizenship rights. Well, we know why. We know exactly why these MAGA Republicans, they don't want these undocumented migrant workers with no criminal convictions remaining in this country to become citizens for several reasons. One, there's an ethnic and racial component to this. Two, if these undocumented migrants become citizens, they have the right to vote. right? So MAGA Republicans do not want undocumented migrants to become citizens because then they'll have an influence on who gets in office. But what I continue to say is that Trump loves lying to you MAGAs, and you love eating it up. Or should I say MAGA? Make Iran great again. You love eating it up. This was never about mass deportation. It was never about closed borders. It was never about any of this. It's about hate, lack of humanity, lack of compassion, lack of empathy, and lack of respect for human rights and citizenship rights for undocumented migrants that work hard in this country. You heard them, 10 to 15 years, no crimes, providing their labor, their sweat on farms, and Trump just wants to use them for their labor. Again, we used to call this slavery back in the day. I'm not really sure why no media outlet is talking about this. It only happened about a month ago. I know we're wrapped up in Schmepstein right now, and maybe it's Ghislaine, but pay attention to the lack of compassion, the lack of humanity, the nonsensical policies or approaches to immigration that Trump presents to you. But he's always lied to the American public, and MAGAs, he's lying to you over and over again about mass deportation and getting undocumented migrants out of this country, undocumented workers out of this country. He knows that we need them to make the economy run. We told you this during the election cycle. He was not going to mass deport workers, and he's not. He can't. He can't afford to. The economy will crumble. So just wanted to play those clips and remind you how inhumane, how indecent, and how nonsensical this administration and Quad D, Dirty Ding-a-ling, Dementia Donnie truly is.